I have received this award because over the last 4 years I've been working on Chinese practices, so Chinese practices by governmental and non-governmental actors or private actors in African countries. Oh yeah, and I have been like you. There's not a lot of research done on the actual Chinese side of things. But because I speak Chinese, I have I wanted to understand how Chinese actors think about development, and then look at how actually what the official policies are on development in China, and then compare this to what actually Chinese actors, Chinese corporations are doing in African countries. So originally the research was planned, like I was planning to go to China first to understand the development side of things and also official policies, and then I was going to go visit several African countries to find out what it was actually happening on the ground. So I have this comparative design. Now what happened is I got here at the end of 2019. COVID of course happened, and then China closed down from the world. So after a few years of this, I did my research here in Bayreuth, reading up on all the literature. And then I went to Taiwan, Singapore, and Washington, D.C. to talk to Chinese professionals about how they look at development, and also talk about like what kind of worldviews they have. So the whole deal, like how is their worldview related to how they think about development, and how are competent practices measured as well. So how are they, like what is considered good development from a Chinese perspective. So I did that in these 3 localities. And then as a follow-up, I went to Zambia that was in June, July this year. So I visited there the Copperbelt province and Lusaka. And I happened to meet a lot of Chinese corporations, and I essentially lived with them for 3 weeks and was able to join in all their meetings. So the meetings between state-owned enterprises and private enterprises, between government officials and private individuals. And I've looked at several mines and infrastructure development projects there. And now I am writing up these findings, working towards publications. So on both, writing about what is the nature of these individuals that are actually in Zambia. How do they think about development? What are the career trajectories that they have been through, and how is success measured for them? So I'm now writing together with Jana Hunke as well several journal articles on this topic. Well, first of all, next week I'm traveling to China for 3 weeks. So I'll catch up on this lag that I missed in the beginning. So I'm going to talk there both to development professionals, and also I'm going to follow up on the context that I got to know in Zambia. There were a lot of cadres or transnational professionals, Chinese transnational professionals, that were there for inspection tours, and they were mostly located in Shanghai or in Beijing. So I'll meet up with these people to see their headquarters. So those are both people working for state-owned enterprises as well as private enterprises. So I'll speak to them over the coming 3 weeks. And then over the bit longer term, I'm looking forward to visit several other African countries. I'm hoping for Kenya, Zimbabwe, and probably Zambia again, because I had such good access over there. So these are the plans for the coming year. But also I'm very much interested in looking at Chinese influence more broadly. So not just in African countries, but more broadly in the global south, as well as in Europe itself. So over the course of next year, I'll start a position in the Netherlands as well, from where I'll give policy advice to the government. So there will be a lot of policy questions coming from the government with regards to China. And I'll deal with these questions next to continuing my research here in Bayreuth, looking at Chinese practices in Africa. And I think these two different strands of research are highly complementary. And I would be fascinated to see the comparison of Chinese influence both in African countries as well as in Europe or other countries in the global south. Yeah.